that this week we released a new ebook. And it is called, Was Jesus a Secret Magician? The 3 Secret Baptisms of Jesus. This whole business of 3 secret baptisms of Jesus and all of that, this is all well and good. And I mean, all right, to begin with, we had this strange ritual you're doing in the mornings that you're talking about opening the treasuries of light and magic of Jesus and all of it. Mm-hmm. What is this?
Right.
And so the whole point of us publishing this ebook is to show you what it is and to put everything in its context. I mean, obviously, we can't teach the whole system right away in one ebook. It's not possible.
Right.
I mean, but at least we can show you the contours of the system. We can show you what it entails, what's actually in it, and especially where did it come from, and what is it. To put this again in its historical context, the Golden Dawn was founded in 1888. Mathers, Westcott, Woodman, Isis Urania Temple. 1892, S.L. McGregor Mathers founded the RNAC, the Second Order. Okay? So then, it's 1892. 5 years later,
yes,
in 1897, comes the most miraculous discovery by the archaeologists.
Yes, and the archaeologists, what they found was actually amazing.
Right. Now, according to what they say, what Bruce claims, he was there in the city of Thebes when they excavated this manuscript. Now, he took the manuscript back with him to Britain, and it eventually found its way into the Bodleian Library. It is called the Bruce Codex.
And the Bruce Codex has been translated by academics.
This is, yes, exactly. This is what it contains. The books of Iao and the untitled text are in the Bruce Codex. So this was a collection of papyri that he brought back, and they were in terrible condition.
Such bad condition that he actually helped pay for someone to come in and transcribe much of what was contained therein.
Right.
Now, that being said, this particular translation is based on a combination of actual photographs of the Bruce Codex itself and different transcriptions that have been taken throughout time.
Absolutely. You see, this is really important because, all right, think about this for a moment. See, magic was repressed by the Christians, and we'll get to that in a moment. In our opinion, Jesus was probably the greatest magician that ever lived. But the whole magical aspect of Jesus' magician was made supernatural even more, that it must have been because he was God. And the whole idea of Jesus as a magician was put to the side. Along with that, magic was forbidden.
Yes.
You had an orthodoxy come along that wanted to impose themselves between man and God. In my opinion, they took the original message of Jesus and turned it on its head, because the message of Jesus was all about how to open yourself to divinity, how to come into contact, how to ascend into the kingdom of light, abundant life, and all of these things. And these guys instead wanted to create a celibate priesthood, that they were the only ones who were in contact, and everybody else, no magic for them. They wanted to be the only ones with magic. Typical, like most black magicians.
Yes.
So they actually outlawed the magic of Jesus. Everything that had to do with Jesus' magician was eliminated, removed from the historical record, copies destroyed, probably kept one in the Vatican. Believe it or not, this Bruce Codex, the single manuscript of the Bruce Codex, the one manuscript that contains the books of Iao, the only one that survived, only one, imagine. That's how good they were at attempting to destroy the magic of Jesus and get rid of it.
And make no mistake, it was very important to gain control over magic. Magic was how the Roman Empire maintained control. Magic was how the Egyptian Empire maintained control. Magic has always been used by those in power to control those that they wanted to control. And the problem with that is that magic only truly comes when you are able to accurately channel what is already in line with what is happening in the universe. And for most people are good. And most people are moving in a positive direction.
Well, and especially when you get a magic message like the message of Jesus. I mean, Jesus' magic wasn't just any magic. It was magic of healing. It was magic of exorcism. It was magic of ascension.
It was a message specifically to stop the wheel of samsara. No more reincarnation, no more coming back here. When you're done with it, you're done with it, you go to a better place.
It was a message of spiritual liberation, to speak of, and salvation. And it wasn't supposed to be something to make you dependent on a church or something like that.
Right.
From the beginning. So anyway, to make a long story short, it's a big deal that in 1897, this lost books of Iao were rediscovered in the Bruce Codex from Egypt. Now, what else is going on at this time? We just talked about it. 1888, 1892. These are the beginnings of the Golden Dawn. It's the heyday. So, of course, the Golden Dawn knew about it. This is a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Right.
This undoes the entire Council of Nicaea. You see, up until that time, there were many, many, many more stories about the life of Jesus Christ.
Right. But you know what? Even considering, they destroyed a lot, of course, but even the Nag Hammadi materials, in the Nag Hammadi materials, there's nothing like this. We were talking about the Bruce Codex and the contents of the Bruce Codex, especially, I could care less about the untitled text. To me, what is interesting are the lost books of Iao.
Yes.
Obviously, Mathers knew this. He even built it into Iao, into the analysis of the key word, making a hint at this other magic. So it's a big deal that it's coming out now, and we are bringing it back. We've been bringing it back every morning. Most of you have probably seen one of our morning rituals by now at sunrise, using one of the opening of the treasures of light from the books of Iao. So the three baptisms are really the best place to start. But what are actually in the lost books of Iao? In the lost books of Iao, you have a number of things. And at least I can tell you basically what the system entails. You have not one, but three baptisms.
Right.
Now, in Luke 3:16, it talks about John the Baptist saying, I baptize you with water, but he who comes after me will baptize you with fire and with the Holy Spirit. Obviously, John knew about this because Jesus was apparently, according to the books of Iao, and by the way, where do these come from? Early Egyptian proto-Christians.
Specifically Coptic.
Right, they're in Coptic. This is why Mathers had the adepts early on learning Coptic. What are the contents of the books of Iao? You've got, first of all, apparently what the churches have been giving people for the last 2,000 years is just the baptism of John, at least according to the books of Iao. Because Jesus gave three baptisms. The first is the baptism of the water of life. We would call it the God force. The second is the baptism of fire. And the third is the baptism of Holy Spirit. And these are very specific rituals. These three baptisms were published by Florence Farr. We have published them closer to the original in this new ebook. Was Jesus secretly a magician? And beyond that, you have some really interesting stuff. There's a fourth ritual, which is called the ritual of the taking away the power of evil over you. That is followed by a ritual for the forgiveness of sins and the filling in
of inequities.
Now, what does that mean? Think about that for a moment. It's a very interesting thing, no?
Yes. Now, okay, so I want you to, in preparation for this allegory, imagine the human personality as a mountain range with peaks and valleys.
Right.
So when you look out onto those mountains, it's the forgiveness of sins is very much like if you would take off the tops of the mountains.
Right.
And the filling up of inequities is very much like filling up the valleys. So that instead of having high mountains and deep chasms, you have the nice, gentle plains of tranquility.
Right.
And this is very much consistent with teachings throughout the planet. The entire planet, every religious faith, every mystical and magical practice talks about decreasing the amount of angry, over-emotional outbursts, right?
So it's an
High
interesting,
peaks, and then,
it's what's to me the most interesting of this is that it's this double thing.
yes.
You know, peaks and valleys, like you were saying.
Now it's
It's
consistent.
because the church always just talks about the forgiveness of sins, and nothing is ever mentioned about the filling in of inequities.
And this is where the Iaoans were different from the others.
Right.
They were very interested in striking balance. That is why they wanted the sounds, Iao, to be heard, because what those do is those talk about the high and the low and the middle.
So you have this magical system of 3 baptisms followed by a sort of exorcism to remove the power of evil from you, followed by a ritual for the forgiveness of sins and the filling in of inequities, and then you have 2 distinct, absolutely marvelous, magical systems for spiritual ascension. Imagine the consequences of what I'm telling you right now. And largely intact, somewhat intact. Unfortunately, as I told you before, the manuscript was in bad shape from the very beginning. And voide, luckily someone made a copy of it very early on, right after
Yes.
Bruce brought it back, because the manuscript has really degraded a lot more sense. But, you know, it's still, we've got some very good information here. So anyway, this is what's ahead in the system. There's really a lot of very interesting stuff. We in the mornings have been using rituals from the Treasuries of Light, opening the Treasuries of Light in the first book of Eo. And we have so far only been working 3, or has it been 4 now? 3.
3.
3 of the treasuries. We're taking our time getting to know them.
Because with any magical ritual, you of course know, the longer you practice it, the more of the mysteries contained therein are unlocked to you.
Right. So imagine, those of you who may have been following at least somewhat our morning rituals, we have been working 3 of the treasuries of light, and there are 60 of them.
6D.
60.
Yes.
So that's one system, and it's rather incomplete, but as you see, it still works. We have managed to bring it back to life nonetheless.
The magical system seems to be very much like a holographic plate, where if you have a holographic plate and on that plate you have the picture of an eagle, if a piece of the plate breaks off and you shine light through the plate, you still see a complete eagle. It's just the image is a little bit fuzzy.
Right.
And so in this case, our magical system, even though there are pieces of it that are missing, when we shine the God force through it, it is able
Brings it to life.
project
Yeah, it's
and come
amazing.
to life.
It's amazing. If you haven't been to the morning live streams, come. You'll enjoy it, especially on a sunny morning. It's like this morning was incredible. That you can get the book. You can download the ebook. It's available now for free at thesecretsofjesus.com. Thesecretsofjesus.com. www. Like always.
Right.
And so that's an easy place to remember to go download it. And of course, this is just an introduction. It just sort of setting about everything. We're going to, of course, put out more information about how to work the system as we come along, because we really want to see the system worked and practiced. But the question then arises, and in fact arose on the chat this morning, what about those of us who want to practice along with you, or you get a couple of options. One thing is to just chant along with us the way that Leslie joins in. That's the easiest way. Now, for those of you who are the very, very, very ambitious magicians, perk your ears, because what you can do is you can go and look in the books of Iao, and let me just open just one, show them just one treasury. It would be in the first book. There we go. You can go and transliterate the names from the Coptic here in the books of Iao. You can transliterate it yourself. Or you can wait and we will give you more detailed instructions, but it takes us a little bit of time. Huh? It took us a while to get even the ebook ready. Mm-hmm. Is this a kind of transmutation of negative energies? Okay, good question, George. In my opinion, what's going on is what we have here with the Magick of Jesus is a magical system for the development of your soul. The soul, as understood in the Hermetic tradition, that it has to do with our solar body. You know, we've got a solar body, but it's very, very, tenuous. And most people, it's not very, very well developed. Well, this system develops it and purifies it through the baptisms. Lee says, is it appropriate for us to experiment with the Magick of Jesus on our own? Okay, Lance, I wouldn't be showing you where to find it if I thought it wasn't appropriate for you. But it's going to be a little bit probably beyond your skill set right now, because you've got to learn to transliterate Coptic. And the fact that you see us doing, just do the Coptic transliterations and you got it, because you see us in the morning, at least that part of it.
Yes.
The treasuries you ought to be able to work on your own.
The only thing I would say is, if you do plan to experiment with this, please do all of us a favor and keep really, really good notes.
You should, yes, absolutely. And you should absolutely consecrate yourself using the baptism rituals first before you start working on the treasuries. It makes a huge difference. Let's see. In following daily, my transformation is unbelievable. Healing, pain relief, anxiety gone. More of everything. Gold. Wow, wonderful.
Yes.
Very nice to hear.
Good to hear. Really is.
Yeah, we really like to get that kind of feedback.
All right. Well, let's see. Until next time.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Happy magic.
Bye-bye. Yesterday we released this brand new ebook, Was Jesus a Magician? Give you the basic background of the rediscovery of the lost books of Yahweh, how it happened, why they were repressed, why it is that the Magick of Jesus was nearly destroyed and wiped from the face of the earth, and the miracle by which it survived. How we only have one precious manuscript of this ancient knowledge, and that's truly all there is left. Well, maybe in the Vatican they have it, but they're not about to give us that to fill in the little gaps that we've found. So be sure to make sure you download this. You don't want to miss this. You can get it for free for now at thesecretsofjesus.com. Thesecretsofjesus.com. Also find our daily ritual live stream.
That's right. Every day, starting at precisely sunrise Pacific time, you are invited to experience first-person shooter magic you'll find nowhere else on the web.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's not only unique in the way that it's presented, where you're live right in the middle of the action of the ritual, but what's even cooler about it is the ritual is written in the first-person perspective of Jesus Christ. Check that out. This comes from a manuscript that archaeologists found in Egypt. And they say that it comes from very, very, very early Christians, but the Christians themselves, those early Christians, say it was actually written by Jesus and was the secret magic he taught his disciples.
Regardless of who wrote it or who practiced it, we have picked it up, dusted it off, and we are taking it for a test drive, and you are in the passenger seat for the whole thing.
You bet. And it's really quite amazing. You're going to check it out. I mean, until now, after it was discovered, this manuscript has been in the hands of scholars. This is the first time it's really in the hands of magicians and being brought out and brought back to life. So check us out every morning at sunrise.
Are you familiar with the Rosicrucian with what's his name? He's popular in the States. He's the president or the from the Golden Dawn. What's his name?
Oh.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
Have David Griffin.
I saw an email yesterday that he sent out about, there's a magical war going on.
Demons of the infernal realm. Find all of them. There is really a magical work going on. There is a guy called David Griffin who is heading all these magicians.
David Griffin is S.L. McGregor Mather's present successor.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
I'm Golden Dawn Imperator David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
David Griffin.
You know, there's a magical war going on.
So there is really a magical work going on.